Now recently I did a video where we looked at what happens if every quarterback went to the team they've lost to in the playoffs the most. Now we're gonna do the opposite. I sent every quarterback to the team they've beaten the most in the playoffs. Now we're only counting quarterbacks that have at least one playoff win as a starter. So for teams like the Chicago Bears, we just left them as is. And then for guys like Joe Burr, who have the same amount of wins versus multiple teams, we had to spin a wheel. He has one win against the Raiders, the Titans, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills. So the wheel decided to send him to Las Vegas, and now he's the quarterback for the Raiders. Josh Allen, another quarterback that has 5 wins in the playoffs, and they were all against 5 different teams: the Colts, Ravens, Patriots, Dolphins, and Steelers. So the wheel decided to send him to Pittsburgh. He's 5-5 in the playoffs, and now he's starting for the Steelers. Broncos just got Zach Wilson. However, they still don't have a quarterback with a playoff win. Cleveland does though. Deshaun Watson, 1-2 in his playoff career, and the only win is when he beat Buffalo. So he's headed to the Bills. As for the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield is 2-2 in the playoffs with 1 win against both Pennsylvania teams, the Steelers and the Eagles. The wheel had to be spun, and it decided to send him to Pittsburgh. Now the Cardinals don't have any quarterbacks with any playoff wins. Neither do the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chiefs, however, have Patrick Mahomes, whose jersey number is the amount of playoff wins that he has, 15-3, with 3 of those 15 wins coming against the Buffalo Bills. That's where he's headed. Joe Flacco, the only quarterback in Indy with the playoff win. As a matter of fact, he has 10 of them. He's 10-6, with 2 of those wins coming against the New England Patriots, so he's going there. The Commanders have Marcus Mariota, who's 1-1 in his playoff career, with the only win coming against Kansas City when he threw that touchdown to himself. As for the Cowboys, Dak Prescott is 2-5 in his playoff career, with 1 win against Seattle and 1 against Tampa Bay. We had to spin a wheel, and it decided to send him to the Buccaneers. Dolphins don't have a quarterback with a playoff win. The Eagles' Jalen Hurts is 2-3 in his playoff career, with 1 win against the Giants and 1 against San Fran. So once again, the wheel had to be called upon, and it decided to send him to New York. Atlanta Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins is going to stay in the division. He's 1-3 in his playoff career, and the only win came against the New Orleans Saints. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy's 4-1 in his playoff career. I don't count the game where he played against the Eagles and got injured. He has a win against Seattle, Dallas, Green Bay, and Detroit, so we had to spin the wheel, and now Mr. Purdy is going to be headed to the Packers. As for the Giants, Daniel Jones is 1-1 in his playoff career, with the only win coming against the Minnesota Vikings. That's where he's headed. Trevor Lawrence has 1 win, 1 loss in the postseason. Of course, that crazy comeback against the Chargers is his 1 victory, so he's headed to Los Angeles. Aaron Rodgers has 11 wins, 10 losses in the postseason. 2 of those wins came against the Cowboys, so he's headed to Dallas to be their new starter. Jared Goff is 5-4 in the playoffs, and all 5 wins came against different teams: the Saints, the Cowboys, the Seahawks, Rams, and Buccaneers. So the wheel had to be spun once again, and he's headed to New Orleans. There's just something about Green Bay quarterbacks, man. They love playing against Dallas. Jordan has 1 win, 1 loss in the postseason, and the 1 victory was against the Cowboys. Panthers don't have a quarterback with a playoff win. Neither do the Patriots or the Raiders. The Rams, however, have 2. Okay, Matthew Stafford has 4 wins, 4 losses, and all 4 wins were against 4 different teams: the Cardinals, Bucs, Niners, and Bengals. The wheel is going to keep him in the division. He's headed to Arizona. Meanwhile, Jimmy Garoppolo, 4-2 in his playoff career, with 2 of those wins coming against the Green Bay Packers. Lamar is 2-4 in the postseason, 1 win against the Titans, 1 against the Texans. So he's headed to the AFC South, and he's going to start for Houston. Saints don't have a quarterback with a playoff win. Neither do the Seahawks. Russell Wilson is the craziest one in this video. 9-7 in the playoffs, and all 9 wins were against different teams: Washington, New Orleans, San Fran, Denver, Carolina, Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, and Philly. So of course the wheel had to be spun, and he's headed back to his former team, the Denver Broncos. You already know CJ Stroud has 1 win, 1 loss in his playoff career, and his only victory came against the Cleveland Browns. So he's gonna be their new starter. Titans didn't have a quarterback with a playoff win, and neither did the Vikings. Here's what the new depth charts are looking like for every single team. A lot of quarterbacks switching franchises. I guess the motto for this video can be, if you can beat them in the playoffs, join them and make it sting a little bit less. We'll see which quarterback has the most success individually and team-wise. Who's gonna go the farthest on their new squad? Let me know your predictions down below. Also, like the video if you haven't already. If you enjoy these types of videos, we get to 500 likes. I think that would be amazing, and I think it's doable. In the AFC, the Bills, led by Mahomes, go 15-2. Texans with Lamar get the 2nd seed. The Jets, Browns, Broncos, Chargers, and Dolphins all make it. The Titans, Raiders, and Steelers go 9-8. So even though they missed out on the playoffs, they still had a pretty good season. Bunch of teams finished around 500. 5-12 by the Patriots was the worst record. Meanwhile, in the NFC, the Packers, Niners, Eagles, Cowboys, and Bucs all go 12-5. Seahawks, Saints end up getting the last couple spots in the postseason. NFC was a little bit worse, especially near the bottom. Quick scroll through the passing stats for every team just to take a look at what every team did. Mahomes with a nasty season, 38 touchdowns, only 11 picks. Stroud did his thing. Prescott killed it on the Buccaneers. Herbert was still the starter. On the Chargers, Mariota threw way too many interceptions, 28. Oh my goodness, these interception numbers are ugly. Rodgers looking good in Dallas. Tua, same thing. Kenny Pickett killing it on Philadelphia. Josh Dobbs with a nasty ratio. Jalen struggled. That's to be expected. I mean, they don't have the best weapons, to be honest. Hendon Hooker, 23 picks. Okay, Brock Purdy, 28-3 touchdown interception ratio. Dalton, more interceptions than touchdowns. And then you have Flacco, Burrow doing well. Stetson Bennett stepping up. Cunningham struggled on the Ravens. Kirk did his thing in New Orleans. Geno with a decent season. Josh Allen, 30 touchdowns, only 4 picks. Lamar, 34-5 ratio. Levis did well, same with Danny Dimes. As for the league leaders, you had Rodgers at the top, Browning, Mahomes, Cousins, and Herbert in the top 5. Here's a look at the top 10 to 15 in terms of passing yards. Touchdowns, you have Mahomes leading the way, Lamar, Prescott, Dobbs, and Rodgers, along with Pickett in the top 5. Here's a look at everyone who had at least 20. Interceptions, you don't want to be at the top of this. Driscoll threw 35. Then you have Mariota, Cunningham, Hooker, and Heineke. Meanwhile, the rushing stats. Take a look at Josh Jacobs' 2,000-yard season to lead everyone. Saquon, Mixon, McCaffrey, and Henry rounding out the top 5. Najee had the most rushing touchdowns. Brees, Jacobs, Mixon, and Chubb right there. And then as for receiving, CeeDee Lamb thrived with Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football. Olave, Tyreek, Josh Palmer, and Devontae Adams in the top 5. So maybe a couple names that might have to step up next year for their respective rosters. You have Evans, Wilson, Jamar, Van Jefferson, and Brandon Ayuk in the top 5 for receiving touchdowns. Let's check out the defense. Most tackles for a loss went to Quinnen. You had Buckner, Highsmith, TJ Watt, and Zach Sealer. Crosby with the most sacks at 21.5. Simmons, Parsons, Rashawn Gary, and D-Law. So 2 Cowboys in the top 5. Scary defense to go up against. 8 interceptions for Witherspoon and Surtain to lead the entire league. AJ Terrell, Milano, James Bradbury, and Sauce in the top 5. Mahomes wins MVP on the Bills. Josh Allen, former Buffalo quarterback, gets 2nd. On the Steelers, you have Lamar, Pickett, and Prescott in the top 5. You even have a running back, Joe Mixon, in the top 10. OPOY goes to him in the AFC. DPOY goes to Crosby. Parsons takes it in the NFC. His teammate Lawrence gets 2nd. OPOY goes to Jacobs. Here's a look at the wild card round. You have the Bills and the Packers with the first round bye. Now we have Buffalo versus New York, Houston versus Cleveland, Green Bay versus Tampa Bay, and Philly versus San Fran. Gotta show you this screen so you know there's no forced wins or nothing like that. Might as well check out the box scores. Lamar outplayed Tua. Josh Dobbs outplayed Kirk Cousins. Herbert did a pretty good job, but Stroud was just slightly better. The Eagles finally beat Seattle, something we haven't been able to do in a while. Tyrod and Wilson both made a couple mistakes, but the Jets end up advancing. Dak Prescott and Tampa Bay beat his former team, led by Aaron Rodgers. Gonna watch the first drive from every team that made it to the divisional. I think it's only right, man. They battled this far into the season and made made it all the way to this round. I think they deserve a little bit of gameplay. Brees with a nice start on the ground. Remember, that's Tyrod Taylor, currently the backup in New York, one of the best backups in the league, but they're running the ball. Now it's 3rd and 6. You definitely have to pass. Bills showed blitz, but they back off. Tyrod gonna go down, held it a little too long. Rousseau with the sack, and the Jets have to punt. Here comes Buffalo with Mahomes, the MVP. No more Stephon Diggs though, so he's gonna have to do some of this scrambling for 6 yards on his first play. They have some nice weapons though, okay? Curtis Samuel, not too shabby. James Cook, Dalton Kincaid. They still have plenty of weapons, but Mahomes decides to try to force it to one of them. It ends up being an interception. Now after each first drive, we're gonna sim all the way to the 4th quarter. If it's close, we hop in. Always want to see a great finish. Buffalo bounces back after that rough start. They score 21, make it 24 unanswered, and they take the commanding lead. They're headed to the conference championship unless there's a late game comeback by Tyrod. Valiant effort, but the Bills are moving on. Mahomes with 4 touchdowns after that early interception. So now we have the Texans versus the Browns. We have a few repeat matchups in this. Obviously, they just played each other in the playoffs. Lamar with a nice completion to Diggs on his first pass. And speaking of Mr. Jackson, he's playing against CJ Stroud, who's on the other side. So that's also a repeat matchup of quarterbacks. Back-to-back completions by Lamar. Has to be a little bit bittersweet for Stroud going up against his former team. But Lamar with plenty of weapons on his Texans offense, doing a good job early on. Oh, there's a flag. Holding on Kenyon Green. It's coming back. First and forever now. Passing situation. Oh, they just left Myles Garrett in single coverage. What's that tight end doing? For as much credit as you want to give Madden, sometimes that stuff happens a little bit too often. Like, come on, man. Why is the tight end not chop blocking or going out for a route? Just standing in the middle of nowhere doing nothing is unacceptable. Another flag. Another nice run by Joe Mixon, though. The OPOY. Let's see who this one's on. Another holding penalty. This time it's Brevin Jordan. So the Texans going backwards on their first drive. Not what you want to do against this Browns defense. Another nice completion, but it's going to be 3rd and forever. Lamar has to make a play to avoid punting on their first drive. Let's see if he can make it happen. 4-man rush. Now they're double teamed. That's what should have happened before. Lamar still has to throw it away, and the Browns force a punt. Here comes Stroud in this Browns offense. Chubb's healthy. You have Amari Cooper, and that's where he's going to go. Great deflection by Desmond King. This Texans secondary, very good. Top to bottom, their roster is unbelievable, and Stroud's going to have to find a way to beat him. Nice completion to Njoku, who's going to get the first down. Very next play, Stroud stand in the pocket, going to try to go over the middle. It ends up being an interception. His former teammate Hewitt with the INT. But just like we saw at Mahomes, sometimes you have a rough start, but you end up bouncing back and having a great rest of the game. The Browns following the script, same thing as the Bills. They started off slow and they scored to take the lead. It's 20-17 in the 4th quarter, 24-20, but it's a 3rd down and 5 for Houston. They get this first down. They're moving on to the conference championship game. Lamar in a shotgun, gonna pass. Heavy pressure. Myles Garrett trying to get to him, but Lamar's too fast. He's gonna pick up the first on the ground and send Houston into the next round. Oh, 24-20 final score. Stroud headed home with Cleveland. Another great quarterback matchup. Brock Purdy and the Packers taking on Dak Prescott and the Buccaneers. Purdy completes his first pass. The tackle on the open field, though, only a 2-yard gain. Thanks to Antoine Winfield Jr., one of the best safeties in the league. Halfback draw. Vita Vea had the tackle, but Josh Jacobs showing why he was the OPOY in the NFC. However, Green Bay struggling. All of a sudden, it's a 3rd down and 19. Purdy with a clean pocket. Plenty of time. Oh, never mind. It collapsed, and he has to throw it away. Here comes Dak and this Buccaneers offense. He has Evans and Godwin. Rashad White as his running back. Pretty good offensive line, but one of them decided to hold, and it's going to bring this back. So now it's 1st down and 20. Prescott going to wind up again. Throw it deep. Godwin does it again. This time it's a 1st down that stands. Another 3rd down situation. Here comes the blitz by Green Bay. Dak escaping the pocket, throwing on the run. Jair with great coverage. Let's see what Tampa Bay decides to do. They're going to attempt the long field goal. The kick is up. Good hold by the QB, and it's no good. McLaughlin misses it wide right, and now Green Bay's going to have great field position. Let's see who strikes first in this one. Low scoring first half, 0-0, until Tampa Bay finally strikes in quarter number 2, and they're the only team to score. There we go. Green Bay and Purdy not going away just yet. Biggest play of the game. Buccaneers in a 4th and 2. Packers have no more timeouts. timeouts. 45 seconds left in this one. Tampa Bay gets the first, they win, but Rachaad White gets stuffed. Preston Smith with the tackle, and now Purdy has a chance to get a game-tying drive, but he has 42 seconds and no way to stop the clock unless they get out of bounds or it's an incomplete pass. He's going deep. Oh my goodness, what a catch! Romeo Doubs going up and getting it. Packers have so many young, great wide receivers, and one of them shows up right there. I'm surprised they didn't spike the ball. Clock continues to tick. Purdy escaped the pocket, throwing it away. It all comes down to this. 4 seconds left, 2nd and 10. Cannot take a sack, just gotta throw it up and give your receiver a chance. Purdy gonna throw it right into the hands of a Buccaneers DB. Flashbacks of Rondé Barber from an Eagles fan. He's gonna take it to the crib, and Tampa Bay is headed to the conference championship game. As a reminder, it's Kenny Pickett and the Eagles against Josh Dobbs and the Niners. San Fran starts with a run to McCaffrey. Probably going to be plenty of that in this one. These guys are currently the backups for these respective franchises. Jordan Davis with a nice tackle for a loss. He's going to have to step up and fill in Fletcher Cox's shoes. 3rd down and 4. Josh Dobbs is going to find his running back McCaffrey out the backfield. Dobbs in the shotgun. They send a blitz. He's going to find his receiver with a catch by Brandon Ayuk. And look at this. Later in the drive, it's 4th and 5. Not quite in field goal range. So they're going to go for it. Dobbs escaping the pocket, finding Brandon Ayuk, and they're going to keep the chains moving. I'm sure you guys just saw Amon-Ra get paid. So Brandon Ayuk is probably going to get paid very soon, if not traded. So we'll see what happens with him. McCaffrey getting only a couple. Niners take the entire first quarter. Now we're in the second. They're inside the 10. Dobbs under center. Going to hand it off. McCaffrey shaking off a tackle. Can't shake off the second one. That's Devin White. New addition to this Eagles defense. One that has been lacking linebackers for as long as I can remember. Dobbs is going to scramble to the left. Throw it to the end zone. It's a touchdown. Ayuk with a nasty drive. He caps it off with a touchdown catch. It's only right we watch Kenny Pickett in this Eagles offense with Saquon in the backfield. They'll have AJ Brown, Smitty, Goddard, so many weapons. And he pulls a McNabb. Oh, you my fellow Eagles fans will get that one. Okay, McNabb used to throw it in the dirt a lot, even though I still think he's one of the best Eagles quarterbacks of all time. That's just one of the, downsides of having him at quarterback. Anyway, Saquon off with a screen, going to shake off a tackle, pick up the first. And Philly avoids settling for a field goal. It's 3rd down and 9. Inside the 30, they're going to run the play action. They got me. Oh, Pickett just gets rid of it at the last second instead of just taking the sack. Goddard going to try to prevent a scoop and score. He does. Boneheaded decision by Mr. Pickett. Now Philadelphia, instead of being down 7-3, is down 7-0. Going to be tough to climb out of this hole. San Fran scores off of that turnover. It's 14-0 heading to half number 2. Philly closes the gap a little bit, but it's too little too late. 28-7 at one point. The Niners, led by Josh Dobbs, are headed to the conference championship game. 4 teams left in this experiment. The Bills, Texans, Bucs, and Niners. Let's go. We got a snow game in the AFC. Nothing I love more than Madden, at least when I'm watching. Playing is a different story. Anyways, Lamar on his first pass completes it for a 21-yard gain. Stephon Diggs, against his former team. Didn't even speak about that until just now, but that has to be one of the biggest storylines of the game. Mixon actually getting 0. I was gonna say picking up 1, but no. Nice play by Terrell Bernard. 2nd and 10. And Lamar continuous perfect accuracy on the next pass. No, you gotta think it'll be tough to wear white in this snow game. I wonder if they had no choice. Anyways, 3rd and 10. Lamar over the middle, cannot complete that one, and the Bills force a punt. But it wasn't just any punt. Buffalo has to start at their own 3-yard line. They come out in goal line. James Cook trying to get them some breathing room. He does. 2nd and 7. Mahomes under center again. Will he decide to pass? Yes. 3-step drop. Completed. No, incomplete. Derek Stingley with a nice deflection. Gonna be a 3rd and 7. Mahomes in a shotgun this time. But do we see back-to-back punts from both of these teams? It's a screen. Great play call, but bad execution. Or just great defense from Houston. Azeez Al-Shire with a nice tackle, and Buffalo's going to have to punt. So it's a very slow start once again for both of these teams, but Houston and Lamar decide to strike first. It's 7-7 at one point. Texans take the lead. lead heading to half number 2. You can't count out Mahomes and Buffalo though. 14-10 in the third quarter. They extend their lead in the fourth. Houston has no more timeouts. Buffalo's already in scoring range, and this one's all but over. The Bills escape with the W. They're headed back to the Super Bowl for the first time since the 90s. Here comes Dak Prescott and the Bucs taking on Josh Dobbs and the Niners. Tampa Bay with the football first. Stark contrast to the weather we saw in the last game. Ooh, Dak playing with fire right there. Hufanga just swats it away. Third down and 10. Multiple tight ends in the game for Tampa Bay. Dak under center. They're going to pass the football. He's going downfield and it's intercepted. I told him to be careful. Charvarius Ward with the INT. However, it's a third down and 8. Bunch to the right. San Fran trying to get a little bit closer. Dobbs stepping up, throwing to his receiver, but it's incomplete. 4th and 8. They're going to attempt this long field goal. Jake Moody stepping up to the plate. Does he have the leg and the accuracy? Yes. The Niners strike first in this one, and they keep the lead for the remainder of the game. No, Tampa Bay already tied it up, but the Niners take it back, and Tampa Bay ties it up in the second quarter. They end up taking the lead heading to half number 2. We have a safety. San Fran ended up getting 2 points, and we have a very close one. Does Josh Dobbs have a game-winning drive in him? McCaffrey's clearly tired, huffing and puffing, hands on his knees. Dobbs might have to go elsewhere, and he does! Jawan Jennings with a huge catch. They're across midfield. Not going to use their last timeout. Trying to get a little bit closer to getting Jake Moody's range. Dobbs over the middle, and that should just about do it. Jake Moody for the win, and to send San Fran to the Super Bowl once again. It's good. Dak had a good season, but now him and his Buccaneers are headed home. So our final game in this experiment is Patrick Mahomes and the Bills against Josh Dobbs and the Niners. Mahomes with the football first. Let's see if he sets the tone and helps Buffalo strike early. That's a nice completion. Never mind. Warner with the deflection. Hollins the intended receiver. It'll be another defensive battle on our hands. Mahomes on his next play gonna find his receiver Shakir, who picks up the first. Mahomes dropping back again. This time he's gonna scroll out to the left, throwing a run right to his target, Curtis Samuel, with the first down reception. This is not a shocker. 4th down and 2. They're gonna go for it. I form. Mahomes hands it off to the fullback Gilliam, who picks up the first. Now they run the football. First time besides that 4th down play. James Cook with a nice gain, 18 yards. Back-to-back runs. It seems to be working for him. James Cook with back-to-back first downs. Now it's first down and goal. They're back to the pass. Unless there's a jet sweep. Nope. Mahomes. Pump fake. Now he's going to throw it. He finds Kincaid. This time Dalton catches it, and he powers his way in for the touchdown. Buffalo strikes first. Niners trying to keep pace and answer back with a touchdown, or at least a field goal of their own. Dobbs going to Kittle. 14-yard gain on his first pass. They have yet to run the ball with McCaffrey. Now they do. Smart decision. McCaffrey finds the hole, picks up 9. Last play of quarter number 1 in the Super Bowl. If you guys are enjoying the video and you're still here, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If not for me, for that juke by McCaffrey. What a play. They're inside the 15 now. Niners settle for 3 on their first drive. Not bad at all. They should have a good enough roster to keep pace with Buffalo, even though the quarterback discrepancy is very apparent. 21-3. Maybe I was wrong. Okay, 28-3. And the Niners don't have Tom Brady, so it does not look like they're coming back. Mahomes just continues winning. No matter where he goes, him and the Buffalo Bills win this experiment. So there you have it. That's what would happen if every quarterback went to the team they've beaten the most in the playoffs. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching to the end.